Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
We are broadcasting live from Snarful Solutions Group, right here in sunny Sacramento, California.
Every single day, we take the day's biggest technology news and we break it down.
Right. We want to connect the dots between those complex industry shifts and, well, your everyday life.
We're so glad you're joining us today.
It is Monday, March 2, 2026. And before we jump into the tech news, let's take a quick look at what's happening outside.
Yeah, if you're here in Sacramento with us, we are looking at a gorgeous sunny day, high of about 66 degrees.
Beautiful. But looking nationally, it's a completely different story.
Oh, absolutely. If you are tuning in from the Northern Plains or the Great Lakes or, up in the Northeast today,
Bundle up.
Seriously, bundle up. There is a massive high-pressure system sweeping through. It is bringing a real return to winter cold.
Meanwhile, the Southwest and the Southern Plains are just baking. They're experiencing record-breaking warmth for early March.
It's definitely a country of dramatic extremes today.
Speaking of extremes, we're seeing some heat on the financial screens to start the week, too.
Let's give you a quick, upbeat market recap. The Dow is up over 71 points today.
Nice.
Yeah, closing at 48,865. And the S&P 500 is also having a really solid day, up 38 points.
But the real eye-catcher on the board today, you have to look at crypto.
Oh, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. It saw a massive jump of over $2,400. It's sitting at just over $68,200 right now.
That is a huge leap.
Yeah, looking at that massive green candle on the charts this morning gave me almost as much of a jolt as the coffee sitting on the desk right now.
Almost.
Which is actually the perfect segue to talk about our sponsor today, Strong Coffee.
If you are looking for a morning routine upgrade to keep up with these fast-moving markets, this is it.
It really is. Strong Coffee is a premium instant coffee, but, and this is the important part, it tastes exactly like a fresh traditional brew.
Right, it doesn't have that weird instant coffee bite. But what really sets it apart for me are the ingredients.
Because I'm always trying to avoid that awful mid-morning caffeine crash.
Exactly. This coffee is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha.
And for anyone wondering what that actually means, MCTs are medium-chain triglycerides.
Basically, healthy fats.
Yeah, healthy fats that your brain absorbs instantly for rapid energy.
And the ashwagandha is a natural root extract. It helps manage your body's cortisol levels.
Which is what smooths out that caffeine spike.
It gives you this incredibly clean, sustained energy without the jitters. It's essentially an entire morning wellness routine in a single mug.
And if you want to try it out, you can use the promo code SNARFUL to get 20% off your entire purchase.
Just head over to strongcoffeecompany.com and enter Snarful at checkout.
All right, let's transition into the Morning Star.
That is the Snarful Tech article report for those keeping track of our acronyms.
We are breaking down the day's top 3 tech stories. And today's lineup is pretty heavy on the future of warfare, the ethics of artificial intelligence.
Very heavy.
But we are going to wrap it up with some really fun hardware news from Barcelona that might permanently change your desk setup.
I can't wait for that one. But let's start with story number 1. The incredibly blurry, just ever-shifting lines of AI military policies.
We're looking at a new analysis from Sarah Shoker. She previously led the geopolitics team at OpenAI.
And her central thesis is basically that frontier AI companies simply do not have coherent, static policies around how the military is allowed to use their software.
I was reading through her report this morning, and the language these tech giants use in their military contracts, it seems deliberately open-ended.
It does.
You constantly see phrases allowing the military to use AI for all lawful purposes.
Right.
And on paper, to an everyday civilian, that sounds entirely reasonable. If it's lawful, what's the issue?
Well, the issue is who gets to interpret lawful and how much latitude that phrase provides in a modern conflict.
Okay, so the goalposts are moving so
incredibly fast. Shoker points out that when she joined OpenAI back in 2021, the company had a complete blanket prohibition on any military use whatsoever.
0 military use.
0. Fast forward to 2024, and that policy was quietly altered. Suddenly, the language became incredibly light on specifics.
It leaves massive room for interpretation. Let's look at the Bloomberg report that came out recently, which puts a spotlight on exactly how this looks in practice.
It's drone swarms.
Yeah. OpenAI's models are currently being used in a drone swarm trial. This is a collaboration with the Defense Innovation Unit, the DIU, and the Defense Autonomous Warfare Group.
Known as DIWG.
Exactly. Now, OpenAI maintains that this fully complies with their current usage policy, which officially bans the use of their tech to direct autonomous weapons.
But this raises that fundamental question of what it actually means to direct a weapon.
Right.
If an AI model is parsing thousands of sensor inputs to optimize the flight path of a drone swarm,
But a human still presses the final fire button.
exactly, is the AI directing the weapon? Or is it just a logistical tool?
It's a gray area.
A huge gray area. The military kill chain, which is the entire sequence of events leading up to a strike, relies heavily on data processing.
And Shoker highlights that because these lines are so fuzzy, the public is left completely in the dark about how lethal tech is being deployed.
She brings up this concept of black boxes, which I think is just crucial to understand here.
Yeah, we're dealing with layers upon layers of opacity.
Yeah.
First, you have the AI models themselves. Large language models are literal technical black boxes.
They absolutely are. Because of their neural network architecture, you feed them petabytes of data, they adjust billions of internal parameters, and they generate an output.
And even the engineers who built the system can't always trace the exact mathematical pathway of why the model made a specific correlation.
Right. So that's your first black box,
Then on top of that, you have the military and intelligence agencies.
which are bureaucratic black boxes.
By design, they operate on classified networks with strict security clearances.
And finally, you have the conflict zones themselves, which are black boxes due to the fog of war.
So you have a technology we don't fully understand being used by secretive agencies in totally chaotic environments.
If we connect this to the bigger picture for you, the listener, this matters because the ethical thresholds for technologies capable of life and death decisions are being set quietly
Behind closed doors.
by privately held tech companies. Shoker reminds us that back in 2018, Google tried to claim its object detection software for the Pentagon's project. Maven was strictly non-offensive.
But the reality of modern combat is that the least technologically advanced component of an AI weapon system is the trigger itself.
Right. Everything leading up to the trigger is data.
Now, we are just reporting on the shifting sands of these policies here. Whether you believe the military needs every cutting-edge tool available to stay competitive globally.
Or you believe AI shouldn't be involved in warfare at all.
Exactly. The reality is that civilians and taxpayers are almost entirely excluded from this conversation.
We're just expected to trust the invisible pressures and internal politics of Silicon Valley firms.
And that opacity we're talking about, it isn't just a theoretical debate anymore.
Not at all.
It has officially boiled over into a very public, very high-stakes standoff happening right now. Which brings us to our second story.
The United States Pentagon is currently going head-to-head with Anthropic, the AI company behind the Claude model.
The stakes here could not be higher, and the timeline is incredibly tight. The Pentagon has given Anthropic a hard deadline.
Friday at 5:01 p.m.
Friday at 5:01 p.m. By that exact minute, Anthropic must allow unrestricted use of its technology for all lawful military purposes.
And if they refuse, they risk losing a $200 million defense contract.
And being officially designated a supply chain risk.
The pressure's coming from the very top, too. President Trump has stepped in, ordering federal agencies to stop using Anthropic's technology altogether.
He's giving them a 6-month window to phase it out completely.
And the friction really comes down to two very specific red lines drawn by Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei.
Yeah, Amodei has publicly stated that he will not allow Claude to be used for two things. The first is fully autonomous military targeting.
Meaning weapons systems that identify a target and fire without a human actively in the loop making that final call.
Exactly. And the second red line is domestic mass surveillance of U.S. citizens.
His argument is that frontier AI systems, which we know are prone to hallucinations and unpredictable behaviors, are simply not reliable enough yet.
Not reliable enough to power fully autonomous weapons or parse citizen data without massive civil liberties violations.
But the Pentagon is furious about these restrictions.
The military's argument is fundamentally about national security, operational readiness, and the chain of command.
The Pentagon's chief technology officer, Emil Michael, he didn't mince words. He publicly called Amodei a liar with a God complex.
He accused him of trying to personally dictate the rules of engagement for the U.S. military.
Michael's point is that the military only issues lawful orders anyway and already operates under strict international and domestic regulations governing weapons and surveillance.
From the Pentagon's perspective, they just can't procure crucial software tools that come preloaded with built-in ideological limitations set by civilian developers.
Especially when adversaries like China are heavily investing in unrestricted military AI.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also weighed in heavily on this dispute. He warned against what he called woke AI models,
stating categorically that the military will not employ artificial intelligence that restricts their ability to fight and win wars.
Hegseth actually went as far as threatening to use the Defense Production Act.
For some context on that, it's a Korean War-era federal law. It gives the president sweeping emergency powers to force private industry to prioritize national security orders.
It is a massive lever to pull.
Yeah.
But the leverage dynamic here is fascinating. Why does the military care so much about Anthropic specifically?
Because Anthropic is currently the only AI company to have its model deployed on the Pentagon's classified networks.
Largely through a secure bridge partnership with Palantir?
And Claude has proven to be highly effective. The model was actually used recently in a U.S. operation to capture Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro.
Just to clarify how a language model assists in a kinetic operation like that, it isn't driving a vehicle or firing a weapon.
No, it's ingesting massive amounts of chaotic data, intercepted radio chatter, complex logistics manifests, real-time drone surveillance descriptions.
And it instantly synthesizes all of that into a clean, actionable intelligence brief for special operators.
It compresses hours of human analysis into seconds. The military relies heavily on that capability.
But Anthropic's leverage might be slipping. The Pentagon has massive contracts with other major players now.
Right. Google, OpenAI, and Elon Musk's xAI, which runs the Grok model.
According to the Pentagon, these competitors are much more willing to comply with the military's terms for unrestricted, lawful use.
In fact, Grok is already being integrated into the Pentagon's GenAI.mil network.
That GenAI.mil network is essentially the Department of Defense's secure internal ecosystem. It's designed specifically to test and deploy generative AI tools across classified systems.
And if Anthropic is locked out of that ecosystem, someone else is gladly going to take their place.
So why are we dedicating so much time to a single contract dispute today?
Because this is arguably the most important battle currently happening over who controls the safety switches of the future.
On one side of the table, you have democratically elected governments and their militaries arguing that they need unconstrained defense capabilities to protect the nation.
And that they alone are legally responsible for how those tools are used.
But on the other side, you have private tech CEOs arguing that the technology is just too dangerous to hand over without hard-coded safety guardrails.
Fearing accidental lethal strikes or the creation of an AI surveillance state.
We're seeing two vastly different philosophies colliding in real time. And we're keeping strictly to the facts here, not taking sides, because both arguments carry massive implications for society.
But Friday at 5:01 p.m. is going to be a watershed moment for the relationship between Silicon Valley and the United States government.
The outcome of this showdown will set a precedent for decades to come regarding national security, the nature of warfare, and citizen privacy.
Yeah. After all that heavy geopolitical tension, I think we both need to look at something a bit more tangible.
Please, something that won't potentially trigger an international incident.
Let's talk about some incredibly cool, frankly wild consumer hardware that might be hitting your desk soon.
Over in Barcelona, at the Mobile World Congress, MWC 2026, Lenovo has been showing off some prototype devices that feel like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Lenovo is famous for bringing wacky concept laptops to these trade shows.
Sometimes they fade away into obscurity, but sometimes they become real products that redefine a category.
And the absolute standout this year is called the ThinkBook Modular AI PC.
The best way to describe this device visually is to imagine a normal, sleek laptop. But when you look at the back of the screen,
there is a second portable screen magnetically attached to it.
The tech press has been comparing it to a koala carrying a baby on its back.
It is such a funny visual, but the utility of this concept is mind-blowing.
Think about how many of us use a multi-monitor setup at home or the office. You have your dual screens, your perfect workflow.
But the second you have to travel, or work from a coffee shop, or jump into a conference room, you're constrained to one tiny 14-inch screen.
This concept completely solves that bottleneck.
The mechanism is really clever. That baby koala screen connects using pogo pins.
Oh, pogo pins.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't stared at the bottom of an iPad keyboard lately, pogo pins are those tiny spring-loaded magnetic contacts.
They transfer power and data instantly. It just snaps right into place.
No HDMI cables, no Bluetooth pairing needed. So if you're sitting across a desk from a client, you can leave it on the back of your laptop, facing outward.
And use it to present a slide deck while you look at your main screen.
Exactly. But it gets much better than just mirroring a presentation. You can physically pop that second screen off.
It has a hidden kickstand resting under the base of the laptop. You pull that out, and you can magnetically attach the second screen directly above your main display.
Suddenly, you have a vertical dual monitor setup anywhere you go.
You just connect it with a single USB-C cable for power.
And if vertical isn't your style, or you have a really shallow desk at a coffee shop, you can actually take the physical keyboard completely off the base of the laptop.
You slot the second screen right into the base where the keyboard used to be. It auto-connects via those pogo pins we mentioned.
And then you use the removable keyboard via Bluetooth. It ends up looking a lot like the Asus ZenBook Duo that's been popular recently, but with far more modularity.
It's basically a shape-shifting computer. And Lenovo didn't stop there.
No. They also showed off 2 other concepts just to flex their engineering muscles. They brought a gaming handheld device that features a folding display.
Giving you a massive screen that folds up to fit in your pocket.
And they showcased a dual-screen 3D PC that uses eye tracking.
So it doesn't require any special glasses to see the 3D models popping out of the screen.
It's easy to dismiss these devices as just flashy trade show concepts designed to generate headlines. But the real-world relevance here is huge.
Our working lives has fundamentally changed over the last 5 years. Remote work, hybrid schedules, working from an airport lounge.
These are the new norm for millions of professionals. But our physical hardware has mostly stayed the same.
We're still buying clunky plastic monitors and wrestling with tangled cables to get a decent productivity setup.
What Lenovo is signaling here is a future where modular tech permanently eliminates the stationary desk setup.
You bring your entire multi-screen command center in your backpack, and you adapt it physically to whatever environment you happen to be in.
It is a brilliant look at how consumer technology is pushing toward infinite adaptability, giving the user total control over their environment.
Before we wrap up today's show and connect all these dots together, we want to mention our second sponsor, Old Glory.
If you have a techie friend, or really anyone in your life who loves pop culture, Old Glory is the absolute best place to find a gift.
They are an iconic store for music and sports fan merchandise. T-shirts, hoodies, collectibles.
They have a massive, officially licensed catalog that covers almost every fandom you can think of. It's the perfect spot to grab something unique.
And we have a great deal for you. If you use the promo code SNARFL at checkout, you will get 15% off your entire purchase.
Just go to oldglory.com and remember to type in SNARFL.
Let's take a step back and recap the journey we've been on today.
We started by looking at the incredibly blurry ethical lines of military AI policies.
And how the vague language of all lawful purposes leaves the public entirely in the dark about how lethal tech is being integrated into modern warfare.
We looked at how those blurry lines have caused a massive explosive standoff right now between the Pentagon and Anthropic.
A $200 million contract is on the line by Friday afternoon. It all boils down to a fight over who actually gets to control the safety constraints and red lines of national security software.
Finally, we brought it back down to earth with Lenovo's modular laptop concepts,
showing us a highly practical, shape-shifting future for how we work and interact with our everyday screens, potentially eliminating the clunky desk setup forever.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on today.
We just spent this time looking at 2 very different sides of technology. On the consumer side, our hardware is becoming infinitely adaptable, modular.
And built entirely around giving the user maximum control and flexibility in their physical environment.
But on the military and software side, the push is towards systems that are increasingly autonomous.
Systems that process data, map environments, and make logistical decisions faster than a human brain ever could.
Potentially operating without built-in, hard-coded constraints.
So the provocative question we want to leave you with is this.
As our physical devices become tools that mold perfectly to our human needs, but our invisible software systems push further toward total autonomy.
Where exactly will the human fit into the loop of the future?
Are we building a world where we have ultimate control over our desks, but absolutely no control over the algorithms running the world around us?
It is definitely something to mull over as you go about your day.
We're here to help at Snarfle, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarfle.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.